So we're going to be setting up a new WordPress website tonight using the Elementor page builder. Here's my basic site right now. So you can see nothing's really set up. We just have my WordPress website and it says sample page, which is just the simple stuff that comes directly with WordPress when you first install it. So we're going to hop on into the dashboard here. We're going to go to /admin and log in with your username and password, which will bring you to your dashboard. So this is a brand new site, nothing set up yet. So what I'm going to do is kind of just go through, first of all, from top to bottom, what the different pages do. So right now I'm looking at the dashboard. It's really just a landing page of your website. This is all configurable and not really anything that you need to use just yet. Posts is to add news to the site. So this is where you would have blog posts. WordPress started as a blog platform, as we talked about. So this is where you can go ahead and add new posts. Media is just the media library, so anything you upload to it. So it's kind of like Finder on the Mac or Windows Explorer on Windows, where anything you've uploaded at all to WordPress that you're working with, texts, images, video, audio files, they're all going to show up here for you to see. Pages is literally where we're going to build pages. So pretty simple there. And comments are just simply attached to posts. So this is where if anybody had commented on a post on your blog, it's going to show up in the comment section. Now, we're not going to be working with posts or comment at all. We're just going to be doing pages. So I'm going to get started actually by setting up a plugin for here. So we're going to go to plugins and we're going to go ahead and activate Elementor. Now, the first time you activate Elementor, it's going to walk you through this wizard, but the best part is just click skip. Skip through this. There's not really anything we need to do here just yet. Perfect. Now, it's going to dump you into editing a post for the first time. So the best way to do here is just to leave the page. So you're going to go ahead and click the hamburger button in the top left here. And that's going to bring up our settings and our navigate from page. And we're just going to click exit. Now, if it asks you the first time you do it, it's going to ask you where you want to go. The best is to click my posts, which will dump you basically back to here. If you click on post, it will actually bring you to a different editor. It's not super useful. Okay, let's go jump back into to plugins because we also need to activate Elements Kit. So now Elements Kit Lite is enabled, and that gives us a few different sidebar options. So underneath comments, we now have an Elementor section, which is to configure Elementor itself, a template section, which we will be using later on to build landing pages, and the Elements Kit section, which is basically the configurable widgets that Elements Kit, the add-on, if you will, comes with. So essentially, really, the reason why we have this is because Elementor has a pro version that you have to pay for, and Elements Kit gives you a lot of those pro features for free. So this just kind of it's just a bit of a hack to save on having to buy Elementor Pro. But Elementor Pro is a fantastic product if that's what you want to get. Okay, so let's jump back into Elementor for a sec. We have a couple things just to set up. The best thing is to set post types to landing pages. So we're going to want to click that on, and then we're going to want to go to experiments and come down to Flexbox Container and make sure we activate Flexbox Container. So essentially what this is this is the new way Elementor is laying out containers and really is the future of Elementor. So it's better to learn it now and get started. So, and it is very stable. It works really well. So then just scroll all the way to the bottom and just click Save Changes. Let's just move my head to the other side. All right, fantastic. So we can ignore this pop-up here and we can just kind of keep rolling on here. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the appearance section. So under appearance, we've already preloaded the Hello Elementor theme. So this theme, if you're ever working with Elementor, this is absolutely essential. This theme allows you to work with Elementor. So you're going to go ahead and activate that. And then I'm going to go down to Customize. This will allow me to set up a few things. We're going to set up our logo really quickly. And then also set... actually, we're just going to start with that. We'll have to come back here after. So we're going to go to Site Identity. And just go ahead and select the logo. And as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload some files. I have some sample files here. We're just going to go ahead and add. Oh, I might have clicked cancel. I can't see because my face is in the way. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, and I'm just going to grab the logo and go ahead and select and upload that. I'll try up here instead. There we go. If it's going to head and crop it, we're just going to click skip cropping. We don't want to crop the logo, especially in that shape. There we go. So it's uploaded that. And I'm just going to replace this with Starbucks Review. Just going to be the title of my sample website. You can go ahead and actually replace the little icon here if you like to, just by selecting a site icon. And we can actually set it to the same file. in this case. It does need to be cropped. It'll have to be a perfect square. So get it as close as you possibly can and click crop image. Awesome. That actually set the little icon up here. Isn't that fantastic? Very good. Okay. Now, once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and click publish. Very good. And then just click X to exit. All right. So that basically gave us pretty much everything we need to do to kind of get everything rolling. So now we can go ahead and create a new page. We're going to create our home page. So we're going to go to pages. And it's created this Elementor number 5. If it did this for you too, just go ahead and trash that. You don't need it. And go ahead and trash the sample page. We don't need that as well. And go ahead and click Add New. So it adds new. We're not in Elementor yet. When we first hit Add New, we actually need to go ahead and click Edit with Elementor. So just going to close this little pop-up up and go ahead and click Edit with Elementor. All right, we have to set some page stuff up first before we do anything else. Things aren't looking good just yet. So we're going to go down to settings down at the bottom. This settings section, this is Elementor here. This settings section here is the page settings. Now, earlier on, we clicked the hamburger when we were here before. This hamburger will bring me back to the entire site settings. So this is everything that's for everything. So what I need to do instead is come down here and click just the page settings. Because I'm going to do a few things. I need to rename this page. So I'm going to call it home. And I'm going to go ahead and I don't need to set anything here. And just going to go to page layout, and we're going to set page layout to Elementor full width. We're going to want to do that every time. That will basically allow us to use the Elementor header and the Elementor footer, and then go ahead and skip basically all the other junk on the page. Perfect. Now, once I go ahead and do that, I still have some more things to do. So at this point, I think I'm just going to click Publish, and then I'm going to leave Elementor again. So I'm going to come up to the hamburger, go ahead and click Exit. And I'm going to set up the last thing I haven't set up yet, which is my menu. So I'm going to go to Appearance and then Menus. Under Menus, what I'm going to do is set a new menu, and I want this menu for the main navigation system for my website. So I want to set this to my primary menu. I'm going to call it Primary. And then I also want to add all new top-level pages to it automatically. So I don't have to come in here and edit it every time. So I'm going to go ahead and name my new menu called Primary, and I'm just going to say automatically add new top-level pages and display it in the header, and go ahead and click Create Menu. Now, it's gone ahead and created me a menu, but there's nothing there yet, and I want a home link specifically. So the best way to do that is go ahead and add it. If you don't see it under Most Recent, just go ahead and click View All, and that brings everything up. Make sure you pick Home with Elementor beside it, and click Add to Menu. There, that's perfect, and then go ahead and click Save. One more time. Perfect. That's actually now added a menu system to my website. So I still have my website here. If I go back to it for a sec, just click Refresh. You'll see all these changes, right? So I got my logo now here, and I have the home link here. That's looking really terrible, but we're going to fix it. Jump on back to here. Now we're going to go to Pages next, and we're going to go back to edit that home page. So Edit with Elementor. Perfect. Let's go ahead and fix our header up. So we're going to go back to the Elementor menu button instead, so that hamburger button, to go to basically the global settings. And we're going to start in the site settings section. This allows us to do a few things, sets up our global colors. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's set our global color, our primary here, to the green color from here. So it might not let us, it's not letting us pick the color from it. So we're just going to get pretty close. Now, if you knew the exact hexadecimal code color of if you're using like a color generator, for example, it'll actually give you a hexadecimal version of the color. That's what it's called. It's a little number sign in 6 digits. So it would give us the exact color that we need. But I think this color, it's a little bit kind of in this realm-ish, right around there. That's pretty close. Not exact, but that's pretty close. We'll call it there. That'll be our primary color. Our secondary color, we could just leave, we'll do it like a cool kind of purpley blue color. Yeah, that's good. A little bit lighter for sure. And then our text color, we're going to go a little bit darker. Give it some blue tinge in the dark realm. And then our accent color actually will be back to maybe the same color as our primary color for now. Of course, you can set up anything I like there. So now, with that said, I can go ahead and add my own custom colors. If I had more colors I wanted to work with than just those 4, really 3, because one's, you know what, we'll do our accent color, a little brighter version of it. Why don't we do that? And that'll be our link color, nice and bright. Yeah, that's good. So we can hit back here, and then global fonts. We're going to set up our fonts. One of our fonts here, I'm going to use a nice font called Nanito, but of course you can use what you like. So Nanito is great. I'm going to set up our defaults. Actually, just leave it all there. That's great. And then our secondary we'll leave as Nanito as well. And we'll do Nanito, and then this secondary will be like nice and bold. Very good. Click back. And again, you can add your own custom fonts here as well. So you can use more than just these 4 that are kind of predefined, if you will. Typography buttons, we're going to go through those in a future class, as well as images and form fields, but we do need to set up our header. So let's go ahead and jump in there. That's a good time to save every once in a while, so go ahead and click update. Perfect. Now, in my header here, so a few things I want. I want the site logo, yes. I don't want the tagline in this case. I do want the menu. So if I kind of move some stuff out of the way here, you can see my menu should show up if I move it. Well, it's not letting me close the navigator. It's very strange. Maybe I can minimize it. No, let's just put it down here. That's fine. So it's got my little home button here. That's fine. I want to go ahead and I want to set my width on this to full width. So it basically takes up the full width. And I just want to give it a nice little 30 pixel gap from the edges. I think that looks pretty good. Background type, I want to give this a nice little background color, just so we can see it. You can also just leave it white. That would look good as well. But we're gonna give it a little bit of a background color, just maybe a really light gray color, just so we can see it a little bit. I think that will work pretty good. So hopefully you can see this on your monitor. We're gonna go to site logo. This logo is way too big, so we're gonna bring it down. Try 80. That's pretty good. So 80 pixels is pretty good. You can also do this in percentage, but I wouldn't recommend it. 80 is probably pretty good. And then, you know what? Let's bring it. No, we'll leave it at 80. We're going to go to menu. Menu, what we're going to do is it's already going to automatically select the primary menu, but you can reset it if you like, just in case. Especially if you start adding more. And it says menu layout. Do you want it horizontal or do you want it as a drop down? Drop down will be like this, where you click on it and it opens. We're going to leave it as horizontal. Keep the menu there all the time. Now it's going to ask us, okay, when do you want to switch to that? So when you go to a smaller screen, that's what this breakpoint is. So right now it's saying at less than, basically on a tablet, it's going to go ahead and display the mobile. Probably going to be a pretty small menu on this site, so I'm just going to make sure that it switches when it gets to mobile, especially because we have a small logo. And then it says basically go ahead and configure the color of your links, the toggle color of your links, and the typography. So I'm going to go ahead and set our colors up. So we're going to use probably our text color up here, and then set our typography. So I like using, so it should be using Nanito already, but we're going to go ahead and set it anyway, just in case. Actually, it wasn't. And we're going to set our bold, nice and bold. I'm going to do an uppercase on this and give it some letter spacing. Kind of spread it out a little bit. You know what? Let's give it a little bit heavier. That's perfect. Okay, awesome. And the color's good. Everything's good there. And we're going to leave it like that for now. You know what? I'm going to bring the font size down just a wee bit. Like 14. It should have been defaulting at 16. Yeah. So 14 is probably pretty good. Nice and small. It looks pretty nice. And again, just click update every once in a while. The other benefit to clicking update is at any point in time, if you do something that you don't really like, what you can do is you can come down here into history at the bottom, and you can see everything you've done. This is your undo redo history, as well as your revision history. So when you've saved it, every time you've clicked save, it's gone ahead and applied this. And you can actually click through these and see kind of like the older versions of the site. That's where it was before, and that's where it is almost now, right? So I'm just going to discard that and get us back. And it didn't bring my color over. That's fine. The revision history isn't perfect, but it's pretty awesome that it can bring you back to there, right? All right. I don't know why it's not. Get back to my text color. There we go. Let's set our toggle color here to a... Stop bringing up my global colors right now. So I'm going to hit save. If you ever notice that, like something's going on a little funky, just go ahead and save it and hit refresh. I'll reload Elementor right from scratch. Especially in the early kind of beginning of editing, I find that does happen from time to time. So we were in menu. Typography. Toggle color. There we go. So a toggle color will be our nice green color. Perfect. Update that. That's awesome. Okay, good. So our menu is actually looking pretty snazzy at this point. Let's go ahead and fix our footer. So that's in the next section. Just click back. Go ahead and click footer. And I don't want my site logo down there. It doesn't look good. Tagline doesn't look good. Don't really want my menu. Maybe we'll just leave the copyright for now. And we're going to go ahead and it's allowing us to edit this, and make it a lot smaller. Maybe 12 pixels, and we'll use our default Nanito font here. Perfect. That's good. And then just make the color maybe a little bit lighter, right? So we can use our text color and then just kind of lighten it up a bit. You can either just add some transparency, or you can just go ahead and pick a color that's lighter. Whatever is easier for you. It's both works really well. Right? Very good. Awesome. Let's try that again. Maybe we'll do, I'll just leave it. That's fine. Very good. Okay, go ahead and click update. Now, we're done basically in this section. We can go into site identity at this point, and you can set the same kind of things we were setting before outside of this, but this is all set up now, which works really well. We can also change what the background is for the entire website, which in this case, we're fine. And we can go ahead, at this point, we're going to exit out of here. Awesome. So let's go ahead and start building something on the page. Actually, before we do that, because I want to do that later on in the lesson, we'll add the other pages. So let's go ahead and we're just going to exit back out of Elementor by clicking on that hamburger and clicking exit. Let's go ahead and build the other pages. So I'm just going to go click add new. Every time I add a new page for the first time, it's going to bring me to the normal WordPress editor called the Gutenberg. I'm going to need to click edit with Elementor each time. Perfect. And as you can see, it dumps. See if I can get rid of it. There we go. The navigator's gone. We're safe. So what as you can see, it didn't work properly. See how I'm seeing Elementor number 29? That's because we're not using the right page template still. So I'm going to come on down to settings here and make sure that my page layout is set to Elementor full width, like always. And then I can go ahead and name that page too. It'll kick you out each time, so you have to keep going back, but that's okay. So this is going to be my about page. And click publish. Perfect. And I'm just going to dump something on the page. So I'm just going to go in here, just grab like a heading or something, just to have something on the page. So we'll just throw a heading in there. Perfect. So there's something on this page. I'm just going to save it and exit. And we're going to do it one more time. Add one more page. Edit with Elementor. Always the same. Perfect. Nav settings. And this is going to be my contact page. And we're going to go ahead and on our contact page, again, make sure that it's set to Elementor full width. Click publish. And we're going to go ahead and just grab a map. There should be a map element in here that's part of something. Hold on a second. Oh, there it is, Google Maps. So we'll go ahead and drag our Google Maps in and just go ahead and click update. Awesome. Now jump out of there. Exit. Awesome. So now we got our 3 pages. As you can see, they say Elementor beside them. You know that you're doing it right if you see Elementor beside them, because it allows you to go ahead and edit it with Elementor, so you know that it's working correctly. So as a recap, so far we've set up Elementor, we've configured it to do what it needs to do. We have a menu system working. So if I actually go ahead and review this website now, refresh, you can see it's using the proper heading now, and it's gone ahead and gone home, about, and contact. Now, there's another thing I need to do though, because the homepage isn't the homepage. It's still just loading archives by default. So I have to set one more thing up before I do anything else, because you can see when I go to the homepage, it's saying archives. That's wrong, right? That's not what our homepage looks like. So I'm going to jump back into here, and what I want to do is I'm going to go down to appearance again and go back to customize. And I'm going to go ahead and click homepage settings. And it says your homepage displays. I'm going to go ahead and click static page. And I'm going to set our homepage here to home. Perfect. And then go ahead and click publish. And that's it. Now, if I go back here and refresh, I actually get my homepage. I know it's my homepage because it's blank. If I were to click through, I see my other pages. There's my contact page with this that I put on there. There's my about page with that add your heading text here. And my homepage that's blank. So let's go ahead and dive out of here, go back to pages, and go ahead and edit this home page. But now, instead of just clicking here or clicking edit, I can now click this edit with Elementor, and it'll skip directly to Elementor. So we're going to do that. Very good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add a section to the top here, some really pretty section, just by going ahead and clicking add new container. And I get some options. So these 2 options at the beginning. These are great if you have content in one direction. So you want everything stacked, vertically, or you want everything, laid out in a row horizontally. These work really, really well. Otherwise, I can click another structure. So if I want, for example, a nice background image with some text on the left-hand side and maybe something really visible on the right, I might want to use a split structure like this. So we're going to go ahead and use a split structure. I can actually edit the split structure too, so I can change how wide it is. And what's nice too is I can undo. So I can actually Command Z that and put it back where it was. At any point in time, you can also right-click. And you can copy and you can paste and you can edit, click edit container, and you can duplicate, you can delete, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can save it as a template. So there's some really neat stuff you can do kind of right out of the box. But Okay, so I've got my little section here. I want to make it a nice big hero. So I'm going to go ahead and click Edit Container. And I want to go ahead and change the height of this. This is called min height, so minimum height. What's the minimum height of this section? And I'm going to go ahead and set it in a value. I'm not going to use pixels because pixels never change. I'm actually going to use VH. VH is the percentage height of the viewport or the screen that you're actually looking at. So I'm going to use a percentage version of that. So 100% would mean it's going to take up the entire thing. 50% it means it's going to be half, right? It's going to only take up 50%. So I'm going to go about 60%. That's going to bring us down, I think, a good amount. And if the screen size changes at all, it'll fluctuate with that. So it's pretty cool. And then I'm just going to go into style. Now, the rest here, this is items. This is styling, what everything looks like inside. We're not there yet. Let's put some stuff in there and we can see what it looks like after. But just this top section, it really is what the main layout is. So let's go ahead and jump into style. So in style, I have this ability now to create a background. And the background button here basically gives me 4 options. I can have it as a classic background, which means it's a text or an image. A color and image. I can do it as a gradient, so it's a gradient background. Makes sense. I can do it as a video. So if I had a video clip that I wanted to play constantly behind things, I could do that. Or a slideshow. So if I have a bunch of images that I want to slide through, I can go ahead and click slideshow, for example. I can have my slideshow going. I'm going to go ahead and click classic, and I'm going to add an image. Now, I'm going to go select some files, and I have all these images I can upload. I've already got my logo, so I won't do that one again, but I'll go ahead and upload those. Perfect. So I'm going to grab an image here that I think would look good in this section. I'm going to go ahead and use this one. I think this is pretty cool because I can put text beside it. And I'm going to go ahead and click Insert Media. It's going to dump that in full resolution, right? So it's really nice and big. So I'm going to bring it down in size a little bit and make it fit a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and change its size down here first to cover. Cover will make sure that the section is always covered properly, so it's never going to repeat. And then I want to change its position to probably center bottom center. So I can always see the bottom of the photo and it'll bring it up. You know what? Let's try center. Probably a little better. That's pretty good. Awesome. Now, I couldn't put text on this right now because you wouldn't see the text. It would actually be lost. And I also want the text on the left-hand side. You know what? Scratch that. I don't care if the text is on the left-hand side. It's a lot more difficult to switch that around right now. We could flip it, but let's not get into there just yet. But this is perfect, actually. This is good. So what I want to do is I want to put an overlay over top of this image, and that overlay will serve as a way to basically be able to have text over top. So if I go to Basic Overlay, I get to do a classic or a gradient. And in this case, I'm going to do a gradient. Let's do something a little bit more fun. And I want my gradient basically, let's go ahead and so we can see it. I want my gradient to basically go from, I would say, let's go black to black. So black to black. It'll make more sense in just a second. Okay. And I actually want, let's crank up the opacity all the way so you can't see anything else. And I want this side to not be 100% black. So I'm going to come into my color again. And I'm just going to grab this little gradient slider here. And I'm going to drop it all the way down. Okay. And I just got to change my angle. So I need my angle to be, so the text is on that side. So 130 should be what it is. Awesome. So now it goes from basically clear all the way to dark. And then I just want to kind of bring my location over a little bit. But let's my way now. These editing things are my way. Oh, you know what? If I just click it, it's fine. So I want to bring my location in like that. Yeah, that's cool. Because that 130 gives it this kind of cool angle. And then I can just drop the opacity on that a little bit. You know what? I'm going to need a little bit darken over here as well. So I'm going to come in here and just fluctuate that. Bring that up a little bit again. You know, so maybe it's about 50%. And then it goes to that dark color on this side. Yes. Now it's a lot easier for me to work with this. You know what? Maybe a little bit less. I want that cup to be kind of nice and bright. That's looking really good. So again, that's all achieved with background overlay, which is super cool. I could have done that with white instead. So white would have given me the opposite effect. Would have kind of made it brighter instead. Make sure you set both. But I'm thinking, let's make it dark. Let's give it some nice darkness. You can even bring a little bit of color in too. Sometimes it's good so it doesn't just get to be, that faded color. You can kind of bring in some color to it, just a little bit. Blue usually works pretty well. Red could look actually really good too, because it'll bring in some nice color. So we can do that. I'm just copying and pasting that in, and then bringing the opacity down on it. That's awesome. Look at that. That looks beautiful. Isn't that cool? All right, let's bring a little bit more darkness. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. So again, now I've got a beautiful background image, and I've got this cool overlay going on. Let's go ahead and add some text to this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little plus button, or alternatively, I can click on this 9 dots, and it'll bring me back to my widgets. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop some text in here. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in a heading, and my heading is going to be reviewing Starbucks since 99. Sure, why not? It's just fake content here. And we're going to go ahead and do style, and I'm going to set my text color to white. And then I'm going to ramp this way up, this typography way up on this. And we're going to bring that way up. Nice and big. Yeah. And we're going to come in here, maybe make it a little bit more bold. And then maybe bring the line height. Whoa, that was wild. Line height down. Oh, it's pixels. That's why we're going to change it to M's for a sec. Actually, that's perfect. That's perfect. And that's all good. Just maybe bring the size down a little bit. That's probably good. Okay, fantastic. That's I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I'm going to want to go ahead and move this around a little bit and not just have it there. But for now, this is pretty good. I'm just going to center it. So coming back into here, I'm just going to go ahead and center that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some type below it. So back to here. Grab my text editor and drag that in just below, and so that, see the blue bar? So it's showing kind of where it's going to put it. I want to make sure that it's here, just below, and then drop it in. Okay, so this style here, we're going to go white again, and we're going to go ahead and typography, and we're just going to make it a little bit more bold so we can see it really well, and center it. Perfect. And then last but not least, I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to grab a button. I'm going to drop a button in. It's going to drop it in this terrible color. But I want to go ahead and match, not click here, we're going to say the menu. You know what I mean? So they can click that and they can see the menu. I'm going to go ahead and match the styling that I did up here because I actually really like the way we did that. So I'm going to go to Style and Typography, and I'm going to bring that font size down. Make sure we set the right font, Nanito. Bring my font size down to about 14. Ramp up my weight. Transform to uppercase. And we had a little bit of letter spacing kind of going on. That's looking good. Yes, that's cool. That's good. And then we're going to go perfect. You know, maybe a little bit more space. You know, actually that's fine. And we're going to go back to content here and center it. Oh, we forgot to set the color. The color is pretty nice though. We're going to set that to our primary color here. You know what? Let's give it that accent because that's perfect. Accent's perfect. Awesome. So this is looking good. Now the problem is, a couple things, is these aren't like lining up really nice, right? So I want to bring all this down so it's centered, and that's where we're going to go back to our container. So right now, as you can see, it says Edit Button. That's what I'm currently editing. If I click on Heading, it says Edit Heading, right? If I click on this, it's Edit Text Editor. So it's pretty straightforward, kind of what I'm clicking to edit. If I click on here, this little button, it's saying Edit the container, but I'm editing this individual container. Now what I want to do is I want to justify the content inside of that. So what I can do is justify content this way. We'll bring it in, and align items would bring it like, you know, left, right, or center that way. So I want to go ahead and do that. I can also change the gap between elements, so I can bring them closer or further away. That's probably 20, I think, was fine. This button's a little far down, but that's okay. And the other thing I want to do is kind of just bring the content in a little bit. So it's a little bit too wide, if you will. So I could do a couple things. I can go ahead and resize it this way, but then it's just kind of moving everything to the right. So it's still too close on the side. So undo that. So instead I'm going to add some padding. If I go to Advanced, I have these two. I have Margin and I have Padding. Margin is how far something is away from something else. So I'm not really going to use Margin too often, but Padding is really good because it's going to push the content in on this. So if I come into Padding, everything's linked together, but I can go ahead and type something like 20 and maybe even more, 40, and it brings down the padding on the everything came down. That looks pretty good, actually. I really like that. That's looking pretty awesome. The only thing I would say is maybe brighten this cup up a little bit. So I'm going to come back into this one more time, and I'm just going to tweak this overlay until I'm just a little bit more happy with it. Kind of darken that a bit. Yeah, maybe let's get some brightness in there, you know? Maybe just not even have any color on that side, and maybe instead darken this one. Can't get any more dark. Darken it this way, and then maybe go ahead and change its location, bring its location up this way a little bit. Maybe cut it a little tighter. It's pretty good. Yeah, and then I can even adjust the angle a little bit to get it where I want it to go. Of course, if I want it straight up and down, it'll be 90, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of get it on this nice angle. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think that's actually looking pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and click Update and take a look at the live site. So I got the live site open right here. I'm just going to go ahead and click Refresh. Look at that. It looks fantastic. Now, this cup's a little tight here. That's okay. But other than that, this is actually looking really cool. And if I were to resize this, if I came down in this, as you can see, it's going to adjust the height of this section because I was using that 60 VH, that min height of 60. So that's working out really well. Now, all I got to do, if I want to add more sections, just come on down here and click Add New, and I can keep adding new sections. But that brings me back through basically everything that we need to do to set this site up and get it to go. So if I go ahead and exit it out of this for now, everything's saved, everything's working, and we now have a home page, an about page, and a contact page. Now, I'm going to want to make my home page and my about and contact a little bit better, a little bit more filled out. Probably add a little bit more on my home page eventually as well, but this is a great start. I think this is working really well. So hopefully this helped. It's about a 30-minute video, but hopefully it helped because it ran through everything step by step that we need to do in order to get this site to work.